Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I just wanted to do a stock market portfolio update. And as you can see, I'm just going to jump right into it. I am missing about $2,000 in my portfolio. You might be wondering, why is that? Well, I actually withdrew about $2,000 and I put it into physical silver. I also rearranged my portfolio quite a bit, so I'm going to show you that. So, without further ado, I'm just going to show you my rearrangements. It's pretty drastic, actually. So, you'll see I am at 6.2 shares now of the S&P 500. I'm at just under 4,000, which in the past month is up like $4 a share, so that's fine. Year to date, still the same thing, 3 months. Past year, we're actually up quite a bit, so I'm happy with that, but 1 year doesn't matter. It's more the 5 year. 5 years what I look at, because S&P 500 is an investment I'm going to stay in for the rest of my life. That will always be my biggest investment, no matter what. My second biggest investment is the international stock market, which year to date is up $3 a share. In the past 3 months, which since really November, $5 a share. So, international stock market is my second biggest investment, since that's the investment I am second most in terms of my confidence. I believe in the total S&P 500 more than I do the overall global stock market. I also invested a little under 1 share into Lockheed, because I think the U.S. military complex is just undefeated, and Lockheed Martin is a major part of that. Lockheed Martin has always been a pretty reliable investment, and I used to be invested in them actually a couple of years back. But I sold that off when I shouldn't have, and I made a pretty dumb move on that. But I'm going to stay locked in to Lockheed, and I'm probably going to up my investment once I get more income coming in. Once I have more money to invest, Lockheed Martin will be a staple position of mine. I'm pretty confident. I also invested in a uranium and nuclear ETF, and uranium and nuclear fund, because I believe uranium and I believe nuclear are both going to be pretty essential in the future. I think nuclear energy overall will replace fossil fuels, give it 30, 40 years from now. I think nuclear energy will become pretty mainstream, and we're going to see major returns on this. In the past day, it's down, which, 1 day really means nothing. Past week means nothing. A month, we're up $23. That means absolutely nothing. 3 months means nothing. Year to date means nothing. 1 year means nothing. 5 years. 5 years is when you start seeing actual, like, a good length time period that means something. But even 5 years to me means nothing. I'm talking, and I'm investing mainly for 10, 15, 20-year returns. I am a very long-term focused investor, which is why I invest into physical metals like silver and gold. I don't play my investments very aggressively. I look at what's gonna be profitable long-term, and I take a lot of patience with it. That's just my overall investment strategy. I like to be patient with it because I know long term it'll be worth it. And being aggressive short term might work out or it might not. It's too risky just for my liking. I also invested in RTX, which is an aerospace corporation. And they've actually been doing pretty good year to date, honestly. Up $17 year to date per share. They've been on a pretty good run since the beginning of the year in the beginning of January. Past month, 3 months, this is a pretty good company that I would recommend, but I'm also not a financial expert. But I do think RTX has more room to grow. I could see them going to $250 a share. Considering they have a $269 billion market cap, there is major room for growth there, and that's just looking at the basics. That's not me going in depth at all. Their 52-week high is $205 a share. I think they have major room to growth in that industry. They have major room to grow in that industry, 100%. They also have a 1.34% dividend yield, which isn't bad for a company that doesn't prioritize dividends. And that is more of just an aerospace company. If I wanted to invest in more dividend growth, then I would go for companies that actually prioritize high-paying dividends and paying out their shareholders. I would personally invest in a fund like SCHD or SCHH, but I'm not a fan of funds that are gonna stay where they're at over time and not grow per share and purely rely on dividend. That's not really my investment strategy. And I also invested in a silver trust, which in the past few days has not done well. As most of you guys know, if you guys have paid attention to the silver spot price, it has absolutely ballooned. It has skyrocketed in the past few months, or basically the past year overall, all of 2025. It has just gone on a ride from $26 a share that it hovered at for a long time, between 26, 28, and 30. It went up all the way to a record high of $120 a share. To $120 an ounce, I mean. I'm locked into the stock market vernacular, you know. $120 a share is what it topped out at. It was absolutely wild what silver topped out at per ounce. And then, whether or not it was because the President of the United States announced a new Fed chair nomination, that is what I've been seeing based off of just quick headlines, which you can never really take reliable info just from quick headlines, obviously. Quick headlines are made for clicks. So obviously, if you want to do more research on that, you can. I have not had the time to do that. But just off of that, the new Fed chair nomination did have at least somewhat of an impact on the price of silver. It dropped 30%, which hurt me in the short term, but that doesn't matter to me. I'm invested in precious metals long term. I've got about 56, 57 ounces of silver, physically. And I've got about $700 or 9.1 shares of the iShares Silver Trust. And I'm not going to sell this. These will all be my new long-term investments. And obviously, once I get more money coming in, once I get more income to invest, I'm going to do probably a 75-25 or a 70-30 or a 60-40 split where the majority will always go into the S&P 500 VOO. Then I'll do either a 40% split among all these, or a 35%, or a 25%. I'll have to figure that out once I have more money to invest via some big moves I'm making with my current career path that I'm going down, which I will likely talk about in another video. But in this video, I just want to do a quick update on my current investments and where I'm going to go from here, which is prioritizing the S&P 500 and then doing a minimum split among the rest. So that's all I want to talk about. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.